Hey guys, it's Comet, and I've got a game for you tonight. This is a little game called The Valley Without Wind, and unfortunately, this game never got a huge player base. The players that did play are really passionate about it, and for a good reason though. So I wanted to kind of share this with everyone else out there. Now, this game is an interesting mix of genres. It's a combination of a platformer, an RPG, and a roguelike. Now, what this means is, if your character dies, your character's dead. They're not coming back, they're not going to recover at the save, they will not pass go, they will not collect $200. You don't lose your world progress, but the character is dead, you don't get them back. Now, there's a lot to this game, so I'm going to try to show you as much as I can without bogging you down. Just show you the basics, the general feel of the game, and how it plays. Now, first thing you notice in this game is that you start off with this tile-based world. Each one of these individual blocks is between 6 and 20 individual maps within, and within those there are cave systems which are impossibly huge. I think they're actually infinitely large. There are buildings to go through and scour for equipment and get new enchantments in. Apologize for the cough, I'm kind of recovering from something right now. And within those individual dungeons and stuff, there's just enemies and loot and so much shit to do, you will never get bored. And there's always something to go after. I am 100 hours into this game, and I still have a laundry list of things I have in the unlockable section to get. Now, I'll jump into one of these maps here. This is one of the Ice Age Plains maps, this is roughly what you're going to see when you start the game, because every game I've started so far, they start you in the Ice Age era. And you'll typically start off with an Ice Age survivor. My current survivor is Wild Garden area. This is extremely late game, this character race. But once you've saved a survivor from a time period, you unlock that time period for good for new survivors. So when you die or you opt to sub out your guy, you get that time period. So in my case, I'm a huge fan of the Wild Garden era guys, because they can see in the dark and get a lot of nice bonuses. And they're also slow as death and don't jump very high. The other guys are a lot quicker than this guy is. But the general gameplay of this game is you're going to be fighting like this. General platforming. The controls are extremely responsive. You go exactly where you want to go. So if you want to be sadistic and you want to turn the platforming difficulty up to I am already the guy, and yes, every difficulty for jumping is based off of I want to be the guy, you turn that up and there are traps and stuff everywhere, making every area roughly impossible to navigate. You know that if you get hurt in there, it's not because the controls are unresponsive, because the controls do exactly what you want. So I can't praise them enough for that, because some of these maps are really sadistic on how you navigate them. Now the combat in this game is you have your health, you have your mana, and you have all of this. You get your enchantments and your spells as you play the game. You find them off of enemies. You build your own as far as spells go. And you get them as rewards from doing events and saving survivors and the like. These spells, they vary wildly. They vary from your standard, pew pew pew, fire up as many spells as you can type of spells, which in this case I'm using Plasma Bolt, my favorite spell in the game. They also come in different elements, which elemental affinity is everything in this game. So you want to keep track of what element you're using for every attack, because enemies will be resistant to one kind, extremely weak to another. They may get healed by one type, which you don't see early on, but in later levels, there'll be enemies like amoebas that are on the walls that just, you hit them with green damage. They absorb all of it and their health is full again. So you've really got to pay attention to what you're doing. But these spells, they vary from your typical projectiles, like geysers you can fire off, which is just a gout of melee ranged attacks. You can do summons, which I've got Tornado, Rhino, and the Dire Butterfly. Ooh. But, these do all kinds of things. They even have a fire shield, for God's sake. I can teleport as needed. I can even light the entire area up. Now, these spells vary a lot, and within each spell, which is really cool, this is one of the things I love about this game. This wasn't actually in the original game when it first came out. They updated it with their V2, and just the game got so much better. Every single spell has a ton of modifiers to them, and these are all randomly generated and they come with the spell. Depending on the quality of them, you get a certain number of them and certain types. So in my case, I had for a while, I had 3 different kinds of geyser on me. One of them was just a non-stop geyser that was giving me more mana regen that was actually keeping up with the mana cost of it. I had one that was for distance and damage, and I had kind of a utility in between one just hanging off to the side. So you really have legitimate reason to go out and find a new version of the spell you've always been using. Because you might find a version that's better, or you might find a version that functions completely differently. I mean, hell, you can get spells that only work at night or at day, but when they do work, oh my god, they hit hard as hell. I've seen meteor spells on some gameplay videos of this that launch meteor on its own hits really hard. I've seen people get them where at night it deals like 200% damage, doesn't cost anything for mana, it fires off fairly quickly, and players are going around just beating the crap out of bosses that aren't immune to it. Now, enough about the spells here. We've also got the enchantments, which are extremely vital. This is essentially how your character becomes your character. It's how you'll get attached to your playstyle. Personally, I'm playing more of a glass cannon playstyle, although I am running something tanky right now. Let me get my glass cannon gear on. I tend to play a glass cannon. I've specialized in the light magic. I have my haste rating really high, so my attacks are extremely fast. I take a lot of damage, but I deal a ton of damage. I don't take fall damage at all. And I get a small movement speed bonus, and I emit some light. This is really cool, because I've seen, depending on who's playing, I've seen these playstyles vary quite a bit. I was playing a game not too long ago, and I was playing a glass cannon as always. That's just how I like to play. And my teammate was playing a stealth character. And when you play stealth, you see everybody's line of sight, which is really cool. So he could wander around in the dark, nobody could find him, and he could just go around and explore the whole zone without anyone knowing he's there. Now, since he can see the lines of sight of everybody, he'd shout back to me where everything is, where to look out and all that. And I'd go in and I'd beat face, because that's what I do. So I can go in there having the previous knowledge of the zone to navigate it and take out the enemies without the usual risks associated with it. When I was playing it 3-player, I mean, I was focusing on fire at the time in that room, and I had a teammate that was focusing on nature magic. So when one enemy wasn't weak to fire, was really immune to it, my teammate could cover up for it and vice versa, which is really cool. And it has this really cool team dynamic to it when you can get that happening. Hell, I had a game where I was a healer. I started off with the Healing Touch spell, which takes away some of my health and gives it to whoever needs it. So, consistently, everybody's health total was averaged out. Although, the way the healing works in this game, you kill an enemy, they drop health drops, and whoever has the lowest health closest to them gets it. So, health isn't too huge an issue. For the most part, if you're going to die, you die quick in this game. There really is no tanking damage in this game. But you can heal your teammates as needed. But the spells and the enchantments vary so much, though, that you really develop a unique character. By the time you reach level 10 or so, you've already established how you're going to play the game by then. You've got the gear, you've got the enchantments you need, you've got the spells you need, and all you can do from there is just get higher level, get new and higher, more powerful versions of those spells, and you can fine-tune to how you like it. So it's really interesting when you see players at the high levels, developing their own methods for going through every map. I mean, as far as even the races alone go, each race has a unique set of stats. I play the Wild Gardener. I love the Wild Gardener. They hit hard. They may be a little sluggish. They may not jump that high, but they can see in the dark, so I can kind of abuse that a little bit and get around certain enemies and position myself where I want to. Whereas my stealthy friend is running the Industrial Age. They get +1 to their dungeon scouting. So the map in the corner here, when you're inside of a dungeon, will show to a certain distance a room or two ahead. For him, he sees like 3 or 4 rooms ahead, and he has like the whole dungeon scouted before we even step inside the door. So he can essentially navigate us through to where all the valuable loot is. Which, this is great. So this is why I'm kind of disheartened a bit by the fact that there really isn't much of a community left in this game, and I really think there should be. Now, as far as these dungeons go, now that I mentioned them, apologies again for the cough. I'm in the overworld type area, so I'm just kind of skipping everybody. This is not what you're supposed to do. I have a Storm Dash enchantment. It's pretty awesome. Ah, no, take a hit. So I can run faster. This particular dash I use lets me run on the surface of water, which is really useful because water hurts if you get submerged in it. It's acidic water. And this map does not seem to have any surface buildings for me to demo this with. Taking damage. But the way a dungeon works, you find the building. Ah, here we are. You find your building, you go up to the front door of it, and you go, hey, I want to go in this Ice Age building. You're invulnerable when you first enter a door, so this guy isn't hitting me right now until I move or attack. Thank God for that. Some of these rooms are sadistic. But you get in there, you get your map set up, and it'll actually show you, which rooms do what. Like this cafeteria here has a stash in it with some special loot in it I can't find elsewhere. These blue rooms are stairwells, so I can go up to a higher level from there. I'm actually going to check this out. Now, within these rooms... Oh, this is a weird map. There's usually going to be a lot of enemies around, and there's some items. In this case, there are actually 20 moon lamps down, which are a portable light source. And white witch hair, which is an arcane ingredient that I can use to make new spells. Get off of me. There we go. And it makes these loot rooms, or these stash rooms, extremely valuable to getting ahead in the game. And you can find them right away. If you got your scout teammate with you, you can get them a lot quicker. And with less death trap exploration. Although, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of other great options in this game. As far as what race you play as, and what time period you play as. Because there is a setup for everybody. You can even be a glass cannon straight mage. There are enchantments and there are spells that they're like 600 or 700 mana to cast. I have 385 mana. I'll never be able to cast those. But if I play Age of Magic NPCs, or I'm an Age of Magic character, I'm able to cast these really super powerful screen blasting spells that are just awesome, but if I sneeze too hard, my spine will snap and I'll die. So if you're into that kind of playstyle, which does work, might I add. I'm not too fond of it, but it does work in this game. You can adopt that playstyle, or be tanky. My character's got a decent amount of health, although I don't really have anything for armor. You can put everything into just survivability. And as I mentioned before, just so many options to make a fun character. Now, as you can see here, I'm going through different rooms. This is generally how a dungeon is explored. You find the doorways or the entrances, gateways, whatever. You enter in through them, instances the zone, spawns the enemies and everything, and you go through it. This is the Ice Age though, so this looks really easy because I am extremely late game. I am extremely fine-tuned, and the Ice Age zones are pretty easy. They're typically the first areas you explore in the game. So even with my highly upgraded enemies, I kind of one or two shot most of them. That and nobody's resistant to light here. If they were resistant to light, you'd see me taking a lot longer to take them out. Now there's, as far as the maps go, they are randomly generated as well. And you've probably seen each and every room has been different. The only time you really ever see a map repeat would be stairwells, and that's because, well, they're stairwells. And even then, there's got to be like 20 or 30 different versions of those. Last I checked, I believe there is, as far as room designs go, that are before they randomize them, there are roughly 700 different room designs. For just the default dungeons alone that I'm in right now, that's not counting all the cave systems, not counting the boss towers and the events and all of the things that make up this game and what make it great. Now, if you want to see what this game looks like when it gets difficult, they have the caves. These can be very difficult no matter what zone you're in, although obviously the Ice Age starter zones are a lot safer, relative term might I add, compared to the rest of the game. Now the way the cave systems work is, the deeper you go in the caves, the higher the level the area goes, above your level. So if you're really hardcore and you fine-tune your character to the point where you just beat face so much that everything is a joke, which if you ever do reach that point, it doesn't last. The game does a great job of keeping that in check. You never really get truly overpowered. But you can go into the cave systems and just keep going deeper and deeper and deeper until you inevitably die, because caves are hard. And they're rightfully so. There are actually a lot of unlockables built around getting to level 4 to 6 of different map types. Now, floor 6, level 6 of those dungeons, for one, is really deep into the dungeons. It's not individual doorways, it's actually complete essentially the dungeon, find the next exit, and go deeper in. By then, everything is 5 levels above you. You take a lot of damage in there, and you really have to plan everything through, but it's where those emerging playstyles, become more relevant. That scout guy is suddenly very important when it comes to finding the shortest possible route to the next, oh god, trap room. The guy that's got the bonuses to scouting is suddenly your best friend, because you can navigate to the exit of the dungeon a lot quicker. And your tanky guy can take the hits, or at least distract enemies long enough. This is actually a very minor trap room. These trap rooms will range from being fairly tame, like that room, to, oh holy god, thank god I brought teleport. I have seen boss dungeons hit that, oh holy god, thank god I brought teleport distance. So, while I can't show you one now because they're randomly generated, I can't guarantee one will show up, and this dungeon is fairly tame compared to most. They do exist. There will be a platforming challenge. And plus, there's difficulty settings in this game. If you're huge on, I want to be the guy type, oh my god, difficult platforming, all the difficulties are named after I want to be the guy. Choose a difficulty, I am already the guy, and you will probably be hating yourself as soon as you hit Continent 2. But the difficulty is there. And they've also got, if your character's getting a little ahead of the curve and you do want a challenge, you can turn up the combat difficulty to take more damage, make enemies more durable. Is this room complete? Oh, it's almost complete. I'll warp out anyways. There's something for everyone. Oh, get away from me. There we go. So that's really all I wanted to show you here. This game is extremely addictive. It's simplistic, but really nuanced. So this is available on Steam, and I believe Arcen Games, ARCEN Games, has it on their website. You can get it for roughly $10 by now. If you get it, you also get the second game, which is a bit different. It doesn't play the same as this. It's a similar concept, but they basically made the second game to be, for people who weren't big on how this game played, the second game covers that playstyle for you. So, you get 2 games for the price of one, for like $10. Come on, for all of this and the amount of content you get, huge bang for your buck. Plus, it comes with Steamworks, so you're going to be using the Steam network for... Oh, that was weird. You're going to be using the Steam network for any servers you join. Which basically is a funny way of saying, as long as you have the game and your friend has the game and you set up a server, it doesn't matter how long this game's been out, you're not running up Arcen's servers. Which is great. Plus, it links your username to it and tracks your statistics, and there's achievements. I know some people are really big on achievements. I have a friend of mine who's completed like 60 games on Xbox Live. So, you got something for the achievement junkie in you. But give this game a shot. I mean, worst case scenario, you're not too big on it. Try the second game, maybe you'll like that one. Or, oh no, you spent $10. Oh my god, there's a lot of stuff in here. Or, oh well, you got 2 games for $10. Crouch. So, I will leave you with that. Take it as you will. Enjoy the game how you will. Play how you will, even. Yes, I'm stalling for time a little bit because I'm trying to clear this room. There we go. To get somewhere safe so I can pause the game and quit. So, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in this game.